really a special guest at this time. I know he's going to laugh when I say it, but he really, really is.
Look at his eyes roll already.
Listen,
where are you going with this, buddy?
We are talking with one of the great champions, Taz, and I say that honestly. Taz and I give each other a hard time a lot.
I always love the laugh that happens after someone says that.
But if you followed pro wrestling, you know his accolades. ECW World Champion twice, TV Champion, ECW Tag Team Champ many times, a color commentator for the WWE, in-ring performer for TNA, and a broadcaster now part of the AEW broadcast team. Not only that, successful podcaster, radio host. Anything you haven't done?
No.
Did we miss anything?
No, I think we're good. Thanks for joining us.
Good to talk to you, Taz.
No, well, Tony, I never know when you're sincere.
Really?
Aubrey, I know she's sincere.
Okay.
But you're
Oh, I'm tricking you then, buddy.
Yeah, no, but I don't know you as well.
No.
But,
We're new friends.
Yes, exactly. No, I appreciate the love. But yeah, no, I'm really happy to be here. I'm glad to be part of this. This is awesome.
Yeah, it was really exciting when you hooked on with AEW on a full-time basis, because the story goes, and I'll tell the story again, as I was working WCW, I never watched ECW, and then started doing my podcast, and we started watching ECW, and I'm thinking, this stuff kicks ass, man. I mean, and it really did, and you were one of the main men that kicked ass. I mean, you really had a great career. I mean, to me, when you walked in the ring, it was real.
Yeah.
You know?
It really was. It was too, bro. Right. Like I never played wrestler. I did not play Taz. I did not play the Human Suplex Machine. When I born and raised in New York, if you couldn't tell from my accent.
I can tell.
But once I left the house for the airport or to get in a car and drive, I became Taz.
Right.
And some guys, as you guys know, can turn it on and off right before they go through the curtain.
Right.
That's not me. So when I was an in-ring competitor, especially during those years in ECW, I couldn't turn it on and off.
Right.
It was on all the time. I was not playing wrestler. I believed what I was saying. I believed what I was doing.
It was a part of you.
It really was. And I'm so proud of that opportunity, because that ECW thing, we all knew at the time, believe it or not, that it was lightning in a bottle. We knew how special it was.
Sure.
Because it was so unique, and we had so many unique characters, and there was not a team. There was no writers. It was one writer. It was Paul Heyman, as we ran the ship. And we were a bunch of driven guys and girls that were told no, told you can't do it, told, hey, AWA's not hiring you. Hey, WWF's not hiring you. Hey, the NWA's not hiring you. That's how it was back then, before it was WWE. And we were a bunch of angry, pissed off people.
Right.
And
So you're all just saying fuck it and just doing whatever you want.
that's exactly what it was. And that was the mindset. Every night, no matter if there was 100 people in the crowd, 10 people in the crowd, or 3, 4, 5,000 people in the crowd.
Right.
It didn't matter. We were angry. We were driven. I was probably the most angriest, because that's what the character was, and that's who I was. And, I was a sort-off mean motherfucker.
Right.
And I still have that guy in me.
Right.
Yeah, I know that.
Me.
I know you do.
I physically can't do what I did because of injuries, but but in my mindset, it's there.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you feel like part of that comes through with your broadcasting at all?
Absolutely. Because as an in-ring competitor, I was always very proud. It was very hard. Like I was always an athlete. I played football. I was a judoka. I was an amateur wrestler. I did all these things as a young guy that were very difficult. But when I got trained to be a professional wrestler, it was literally the hardest thing I did. It was very difficult. It was a little bit different years ago, the way you got broke in and how you got broke in. I broke in 1986, and I debuted in 1987. That's a long time ago. And I got broken in by an old-timer, a guy named Johnny Rods. And he, a real Brooklyn guy, WWF guy for all those years, underneath guys, we would call it, but a respected guy, very respected. And he broke us in hard ass as shit. Like he was just... We didn't learn Carney. We didn't learn words like kayfabe. We didn't know. We learned in the locker room. We learned the hard way. He just kept us dumb. So we learned. Now today it's different, obviously. I know that, and that's just evolution. And I think that's great. So for me, to answer your question, I was always very proud to be a professional wrestler, and I'm still proud. That's part of my history and my legacy. So now as a broadcaster, all the years I've been broadcasting, no matter if it was WWE or TNA or now, with AEW, I'm very proud of that because I'm proud of what the men and women do in the ring, including referees and all broadcasters and in-ring competitors. I'm very proud to be part of something like this with young folks. I love young vision. I love the young exuberance. I love the young energy, you know, because, so like we talked ECW. So years ago, during those ECW years, the whole company, as I laid out, was pissed and we were angry. We were driven. But we were also told, you guys suck, you guys, by the old timers.
Right.
Sure. You guys are killing the fucking business.
Oh, God,
you
we
guys
get
are
told
doing,
all that today.
I know.
Oh.
So when
Every
I
day on
first
Twitter.
started getting, I know, well, yeah.
Maybe not you. I get told that every day on Twitter.
I see the same bullshit. But, you know, that stuff is like, you got to take it with a grain of salt. I mean, these are people that a lot of these people just
Never taken a bump.
Never taken a bump, never sacrificed, never been away from loved ones, never been missed birthday parties, missed weddings, missed, you know, had fights with their significant other on the phone while you're 2,000 miles away.
Right.
They don't understand that. See, so they don't understand that. That's a whole nother podcast.
Right.
That just fucking irks me. So I don't have to go there. But anyway, so the thing
we'll bring in Taz later.
Exactly. The thing I was getting at was like the ECW thing. Like, so we were told, just like AEW, by a lot of, oh, you guys are doing too many spots. Oh, you guys don't sell. Oh, that guy, he's going through tables and there's too much blood. You guys are juicing. That guy's doing too many suplex. That guy's, fuck you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how we were towards those old timers.
Right.
And I feel the same what you get with a lot of the AEW talent. You know, these guys are not big enough. I was told my whole life I wasn't big enough. You know, my whole career. So that to me, it just drives this locker room, this AEW locker room, all the guys and girls. So I can, that synergy's there for me from the way it was in ECW and what we were told back then to, you know, fast forward all these years to now. The way people are saying, some people are saying towards AEW, old time wrestlers, old time wrestling personalities, not just social media stuff, you know.
Well, you guys, what you did back then has stood the test of time, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's what we see today.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know you got to be proud with that. And you talked about being an announcer, but you're more than just that. I mean, you help these young kids. You really do.
You mean here at AEW?
Here at AEW,
yes. I try to hang out by the ring.
Right.
And I don't mean this egotistically, because I don't want to come the wrong way, but they come to me.
Right. Well, of course they do.
You know, they come, which I appreciate that. They appreciate me, but I appreciate them being humble enough to say, hey, what'd you think of this move? Or, hey, should I change this? Hey, do you have a mindset on this, Taz? I love that. I'm a coach at heart, so I love that.
Sure.
You know, I love to give back because I didn't have a plethora of veterans who helped me years ago. Right. But I did have a couple of them that really were very helpful to me and taught me a lot. So I always remembered, hey, if I ever make it per se, I want to help. I want to help guys and girls, you know, if I ever get to that level. So I'm blessed and I got to that level and I love to help these guys and girls here. I love to help them on the microphone as a broadcaster. I'm not a play-by-play guy. I mean, Tony, you know, I look at you as your traditional play-by-play guy. Right. That was never me. I'm more of a color analyst. Sure. I'm more of a color analyst and color commentator. Right. You know, and just if I could say, I don't want to jump ahead. You guys might want to get to the color commentary stuff, but we're just organically shooting the shit.
That's what we're doing.
That's all we're doing.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm having so much fun right now as we record this. You know, I'm doing commentary with Excalibur on Dark. I love it. You know, because it's a lot of the younger people a lot of them are chomping at the bit to get on Dynamite on a regular basis, and I love that. So my job, no one's told me this, but I know my job is to help get those guys and girls over what they're doing in the ring and accentuate that. Right. So like all the year, like a lot of my commentary work in TNA, some people didn't like my commentary work, some of it, because when I was a heel character and I was with this Aces and Ace group, they wanted me to be a heel commentator. Right. So I was acting like an asshole on the air and not really getting everybody over it, except the heels. I hated it. Sure. But as you know, you guys, you're getting paid. You got to do your job.
If you're dealt these cards, you have to play them.
Right. And in WWE, a lot of my, not a lot, but some of my commentary was ha-ha fun. That's what the boss wanted.
Sure.
You know, what I'm doing as a commentator in this company, I love. Is I get to break down the physicality, and that's my dream gig as a color commentator. Whenever I gotten a chance all the years I've been doing this to break down action, I'm at my happiest. And here, like, I'm not micromanaged.
No,
which
it
is
is
beautiful.
There's no wonder.
You don't have anyone in your ear.
That's
wonderful.
No, just a little bit, you know, obviously.
Like some timing stuff and whatnot.
You need that, as you know, tone, right? You know, you need that. in and out of break with graphics or whatever and stuff like that. But no, you have your own creativity, and what you're sitting at the table for is to get talent over and to get the storylines over and push things forward. So I'm having a blast right now. I mean, maybe the other shoe would drop and I'll be fucking pissed off here. That could happen.
Right.
That really could. I'm just letting you know.
No, listen. Times have changed. They really have. We talked to some others like Dustin Rhodes and about how great it is backstage to be here. There doesn't seem to be any agenda.
Right.
And that what makes it a great place to work. You went through the politics of wrestling.
Jeez. Yeah.
I mean, it was terrible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You were saying
it's just one of those things where it's like we're all just here to have fun.
Yeah.
And it's so cliche when we say it because everyone's literally saying it. It's like not a Kool-Aid we're drinking. It's literally like
I agree with that because the politics thing, that's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And that's a major part. Like I know in your, throughout your career, Tony, you've witnessed experience.
Right.
I have. Aubrey, maybe not you as much.
not so much yet.
Which, no, hopefully you never do.
Hopefully, yes.
Because it sucks. And I do think, like Tony was saying, things have changed.
Right.
And I'll just shoot. Like, I think here, the reason is, you have to be, and they are, the front office here is very careful on who is brought into this company. Mm-hmm. No matter if you're a wrestler, a broadcaster, a referee, backstage coach, whatever you are, because there are a lot of piranhas and scumbags and shitheads in this business. Sure. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, a lot of them are from my generation. I got to be honest.
It's your fault.
Yes. So I'm telling you, and look, there's shitheads all over the place, obviously. But
every industry.
Absolutely, I agree. But I just maybe just closer to me because I understand my generation of professional wrestling very well. And I think here it's the right people. Mm-hmm. The right people. And like Aubrey, what you said about as far as it's fun here, it should be fun.
It's wrestling.
It should be fun. It should be fun. Here's the but. There's got to be accountability.
Yes.
And I do think that happens here. You can't, I'm not saying you said this, I'm not putting words, I'm just saying it's got to be fun, but it's work too. It's business. We got to make money.
I
We got
didn't
to
say
get
it,
shit
but
over.
I 100% agree with you.
Yes, right,
Like we're here to do a job, right?
Correct,
Like sure,
correct.
we're here to have fun and
Correct.
whatnot, but at the end of the day, we're doing a live television product.
That's exactly right.
We got to make money. Like
absolutely.
It's fun. We want to keep doing this.
Sure, and
So
you
it's
want
a
to have
job.
fun. It is a job. It's like Kevin Sullivan. Not the Kevin Sullivan here.
Gotcha.
The devil, Kevin Sullivan.
devil,
That one.
The Taskmaster.
Yeah, right.
He was one of my few mentors who helped me very much.
Right.
And he told me a line, I'll never forget it, years ago. And Tony, you might have heard this one. This is a long one.
Okay.
He said, pro wrestling is high school with money.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my God. Oh, I've
Think about it.
never heard that before, but that is
It's
perfect.
high school with money. I
Right.
mean, most people had fun in high school.
Right.
Unless you're like Shivani, you got beat up in high school all the time. But
I'm not surprised to hear that at all.
He knew me.
Was Taz the one that beat you up in high
yeah,
school?
I do. I wanted to beat him up recently in a production meeting. I wanted to beat him up very recently.
What?
Because
The
he
one-
ripped me.
Yeah.
What did he do?
Ripped
What
a
did he do?
Well, I'll tell you. We'll bring people behind the curtain. So in these production meetings, somebody help me here.
It's like a massive meeting. We all meet in catering Tuesday night.
Right. And there's a head table.
There's a head
Tony
table.
knows this. Set me
There's a
up.
head table.
Set me up.
Head table. Cody.
I heard this happen. I'm not
Tony Khan, EVPs,
EVPs.
and Cody starts reading through the card,
Correct.
kind of telling us a little bit of the show, and we're all kind of flipping along.
That's all true. But what's at the table in front of those men?
Oh, the little signs with their names,
The little signs of their names.
with the little shoot names.
Right.
Right, which means real.
Right.
So we go into a meeting recently here at AEW, and I mind my business. I sit in the back of the room, and Tony, look at Shivani. He's acting like, well, tell me. He knows he knows fucking everything.
I heard this story.
Yeah. And I have my own sign.
I have it. I'm excited.
Did you see the sign?
You have a sign?
I didn't make the sign.
I said,
did.
Somehow this sign showed up.
It said Taz.
The guy to your left.
It wasn't on the front.
So you put it on the front table.
I was just
you
thinking.
son of a bitch.
I would have been funny. The bigger rib would have been if you would have moved Tony Khan's out of the way.
Oh, my God.
Before the meeting and put mine there and not told Tony Khan. Tony would have left. But
Tony would have found it hilarious.
he would have
Wow, that is a rib.
Oh yeah, that's a rib.
Oh my God.
Well, I do that out of great affection and great respect of it. Oh, I do. I really do. I do, man.
He's trying to cover his ass now. You see
I'm
that?
serious. I'm serious. And when you teach these kids in the ring and you have them throw each other, suplex themselves out of the ring and hit the chairs, and get hurt. I'm saying Taz has been here. Man, that's good.
That part's not true, ladies and gentlemen.
No, really, I want to talk about it. You mentioned Kevin Sullivan was part. Is anybody else was part of, that you helping you?
Yeah.
Tony Atlas. Remember Tony Atlas?
Oh, yeah.
Tony helped me a lot years ago on the Northeast Independents before they were called Independents. He helped me a lot. Like I said, Kevin Sullivan. My trainer, Johnny Rods, to be honest, he trained me the right way, and I'm very happy I went to him. But I really didn't get, after that much. Like I said, he kind of let you go on your own. But
give you a couple basics, send you out, kick you out of the nest.
That was it. I didn't have many more guys that helped me much at all. So I kind of found my own way, and I believe in that. I don't think wrestlers need to have their hand held.
No.
But I do think you need 1 or 2 or 3 veterans to help you and guide you. I'm doing that here at AEW with a couple of young talents where the company said, hey, can you kind of
help them out a little bit?
Guide these guys a little bit. Right. And they're very receptive, and it's because, as you guys know, you need to help. Sometimes wrestlers of their own can hurt themselves out of the ring. It's not just in the ring. They're just doing the wrong thing or acting the wrong way or coming across the wrong way. That's the only thing you got to be careful. You can get heat,
right?
But I've been trying to get heat. So sometimes you need a veteran to say, hey, be careful of that. That's not the right way to do that. So that's kind of what I do also. Yeah. So
we're talking with Taz, and coming up, we're going to talk about some more about his days in ECW. Taz, you made your wrestling debut in San Juan, Puerto Rico in June of 1987.
Yes.
And that wasn't always the easiest place to work, right?
Jeez, bro. No. It was
dangerous, right?
It was very dangerous.
That's a nice way to start in the business.
I didn't want to go.
Oh, I bet.
I didn't want to go, but Johnny Rods, who trained me, as I said, he was from there. He's from Puerto Rico, and he had a lot of contacts in the business, obviously, all his success in that beautiful part of the world and that part of the country. It was beautiful there, but God, that first match, I'll never forget it. Going in, we were in like some rundown old baseball stadium, and it had rained, like stormed earlier, so the locker room had no bullshit. It had to be at least 3 inches of water throughout the whole backstage area.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no lie. And they were trying to push me, which I didn't even know what that meant back then. Again, we're going to give you a push. We're going to have you work a squash match. I'm like, all right.
Throw me in the water?
I had no idea what that meant.
Right.
I had no idea what a squash match meant. So I knew they had at the time I weighed about probably 245, 250. And I knew I was going to win the match. So I had to connect that.
Later learn that squash means you're going to win.
I'm going to win the match and beat this guy. Yeah.
Enhancement.
And they said he's going to get no offense. I'm like, oh, this is fucking pretty good. All right.
I'm going to look great. I'm going to look real great.
Shit. This is great.
Can I do this every show?
So then they said, we're going to shoot 3 weeks of TV here. And I had no idea what that meant. I had no, you're going to think.
You're going in blind.
Yeah, people are going to think, wow, this guy was really dumb. No, I wasn't dumb at all.
We're all learning on the fly. We're just better at hiding it.
Yeah, true. Right. But back then it was like there was no internet.
No.
So you're not going online learning stuff and learning these inside terms. And the veterans wouldn't say these terms in front of a young green kid.
No, because kayfabe was real.
Correct. Exactly. I'd walk in a lot for a while. I thought my name was like kayfabe. I'd walk a lot for them,
kayfabe.
And I hear kayfabe. Oh, hey, I guess that's my new nickname. I hear kayfabe. All right. Hey, I'm kayfabe. How are you?
He's kayfabe. All right.
Well, here's a funny story about that night. So we were there for like 3 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever the hell it was. It was fucking miserable. All right. They put us in the rainforest in some house, not a hotel.
Right.
We had no electric. We had no phones. It sucked. It
sounds like the Indies.
Yeah, but it really. But you know what? I wasn't going to complain. I was just happy. I was wrestling. But anyway, back to that night. So what happens is, at the last week of TV, they did this big schmoz in the ring, a big run-in where the heels hit the ring and beat up this babyface tag team, and then all the babyfaces are going to come in the ring, and the heels are going to start powdering. They take a bump and powder. So they're going over this thing with us in the back, and I'm green as shit, like I said, right? So they go, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then the heels will come. I'm sorry, the babyfaces, I was a heel.
Right.
The babyfaces will come in, and then you guys just powder. Just take a bump and powder. All right. Again, I don't want to show my hand. I'm a real Brooklyn, New York kid.
Right.
I don't want to show that I don't know what the fuck is happening right now.
What the hell's powder?
So, boom, I know when I'm going to run in. I know the guy I'm going to get on. I'm beating the shit out of him. Here come the good guys. Here comes the babyfaces. And all of a sudden, one of them Ted Petty. You remember Teddy?
I sure
right?
do.
Yeah, God rest his soul.
Right.
He was under a hood. I can remember. He was working as Cheetah Kid, probably. That's probably what he was working
Wow.
at. And I loved him. And he pops me. I pop him back. He goes, take a bump of powder. He pops me. I take a bump. I get up. I hit him back.
Oh!
He goes, take a powder. Boom. Now every time he says take a powder, like 3 times, he's hitting me harder and harder and harder.
Trying to teach you a lesson,
and
brother.
I have no idea. And then he goes, take a fucking powder. And he basically punched me in my cheek as hard as he could. I'm like, holy shit, I had to get out of the ring because it hurt so much.
There you go.
Right?
There you go. You finally learned what powder is.
And then when I got in the locker room, that's what one of the veteran guys said. He goes, well, why didn't you get out of the ring? I go, I had no idea what powder meant. He goes, you learn now. You get some ice for your face.
Yeah.
And then Teddy came in, he hugged me. He goes, I'm sorry, bro. He goes, he was a veteran. I go, no, don't apologize. I didn't know what it meant. He goes, you didn't know what powder meant? I go, no.
Wow.
That's how I learned.
Yep.
Wow.
Crazy. Imagine today.
Yeah.
Oh my
Holy
God.
fuck. There'd be
all over
an
TMZ.
outrage on Twitter.
All over TMZ.
That guy punched that guy for real.
There's a shoot, brother.
Oh, my God.
Talk about your relationship with Paul Heyman, because I know you traveled with him. You and Tommy Dreamer traveled
traveled
together.
with me.
Okay, sorry.
No, I'm joking. Yeah, no, years ago, like during the ECW deal, so Tommy had a really good car. Like he had a nice, I think it was like a newer Blazer, like a Chevy Blazer.
Ooh.
I had a shit box.
So you rode with Tommy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it goes.
So I used to drive. I live on Long Island still, but at that time I moved to Long Island. I started making a little money, and then I was going to buy a new car. But anyway, I would drive to Tommy's house in Yonkers, New York, and Paul lived in Scarsdale,
Yonkers.
which is close to Yonkers. So then we'd pick Paul up. So the 3 of us would drive to a lot of the early years of ECW to the buildings together. But my relationship with Paul to this day is still very good.
Right.
You know,
Do you guys still chat?
occasionally, yeah, we'll text, we keep up with each other. I'm always very thankful for what he did for me, giving me the opportunity. You know, there was all the stuff with so many guys were owed money and checks bouncing and all that.
Right.
I got to be honest with you. He's never owed me a dime. He still doesn't. I never had a check bounce.
Right.
Never happened to me. And that's the gospel truth. He always treated me great. We've had our ups and downs. And when I gave notice I was leaving, to go to WWE, that was rough. We had some downs, and he thought we had an agreement for me to stay.
Right.
We shook hands on an agreement. I never had a contract. All my years, I never had paper. I always was a man of my word there.
Well, it's interesting in wrestling, like how much that loyalty.
Yes.
Like it's almost more
Correct.
important than the actual ink on paper.
Correct. But my wife just gave birth to our son. He was an infant. And the deal that Paul and I worked out verbally was like amazing deal. And then I'm quickly, like 2 weeks, a week or so, whatever, after this, we made this agreement, I'm starting to hear stuff about the TV deal. It's not what we think it is, and all this shit they're kayfabe, and I'm like, and then I'm realizing he's not going to be able to pay me what I know he's not.
No.
In his heart, he feels he's going to be able to afford to pay me. But I am starting a young family, and we had just bought a home, so I'm,
You got to do you.
Yeah, and then when I had the opportunity and hearing from WWE at that time, it was probably September of 1999 that we started talking. I signed with WWE. I technically signed my contract, I think it was November of 99, but I didn't debut until 2000. So the deal was like it would take place once I signed.
Right.
But I gave, like I said to Vince McMahon, when I said, I was the ECW champion. So it was kind of like, it was a little dirty business, but I didn't bail with the belt. I did jobs on the way out for 2 months.
Right.
I told Vince right before I signed the deal, I go, Paul's going to have me put guys over left and right. He goes, I go, I have to do it, Vince. Vince said to me, you're damn right. He goes, do it.
That's
do whatever
your job.
he asks. That's your job. That's business. Leave what leave the right way and leave the place in a good spot. And that was old school ethics by me, by Vince. Paul knew I would do the right thing. But shit, for those couple of months on the way out the door, he had me lose to fucking everybody, which I had no problem with. But it was like there was a strain with our relationship.
Right.
And that was hard because he believed in me when no one else believed in me.
I remember the event, and I'm not going to remember the name of the event, where you came out as a champion, and who did you put over and the fans were kind of turning on you because they knew you were leaving. But by the end of the night, they were
Chicago, I think.
They were with you again,
Correct.
Because the way you did business.
That's right.
Right. That was quite a moment. It really was.
Thank you. It was a 3-way match, I believe.
Right.
With Mike Awesome, Masato Tanaka, and myself.
Right.
And it was in Chicago.
Right.
So basically, it was elimination. Whoever left with whoever won the match had the championship. I was eliminated first, and I went in as the champ. Everyone was like, holy shit.
So, title's going to change
Correct,
hands. Yeah.
correct. It was like a huge thing, and we had a packed house in Chicago, and people knew that I was leaving.
Right.
The internet just started to become a thing.
Right.
And the dirt sheets and all that shit. Mm-hmm. And then Paul Heyman and the locker room surprised me. They were all waiting on the ramp for me.
Right.
In front of the audience.
Right.
And like I got emotional. Like
Right.
to
That's
say
awesome.
goodbye to me.
That was a great moment.
Yeah, it
really
was a great moment to say goodbye, but then I stayed for another 2 months doing jobs. So
Right. It's like, this is
it was a
kind
great
of a
TV
goodbye.
moment, yeah. It's a
kind
nice
of a
TV
goodbye.
moment, and then we're gonna beat the shit out of you on the way out the door.
Right. We're going to give you this so we don't
Yeah,
feel bad about
exactly,
everything that we're about to put you through.
That's
my
exactly
God.
what happened.
Talk about the Human Suplex Machine, the catchphrase. Beat me if you can, survive if I let you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's things you came up with, and those things that resonated
Yes,
in
sir.
ECW.
Yes, sir. Those were things that I at that time I kind of had a vision of branding before branding was like a thing. Sure. Not bragging, but okay.
You kind of understood the game.
I did because as a street kid, like I was, I didn't go to Yale with a degree or Harvard or something like that, but I was literally the cliche of the school of hard knocks. I knew the street and I knew how to get over. I knew how to hustle.
Yep.
Without being a shithead.
But that's what you have to know how to do in wrestling to be
You're
successful.
damn right, especially then. Especially then. So I started, and thanks to Paul and ECW allowing to help that machine and the guys who put me over, like the Orange and Black Attack. That was another moniker I had.
Right.
I always wore orange and black.
Sure.
People think I love the color orange. I don't give a shit about the color orange. But the thing was, at that time, Bret Hart was wearing pink and black.
Right.
And I saw it got over, and I'm like, man, everybody at that time was wearing red and black or blue and black, like the dudes.
Right.
I'm like, I want to be different. So I went with orange and black. So
you stand out.
Correct.
Yeah,
I wore
yeah.
a towel on my head, and my inspiration for wearing a black towel on my head was from Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson at that time was in his prime. He used to wear a white towel around his neck, like a poncho. He would just take a hotel towel, cut a hole in it, and just put it on. And we're from not far from each other in areas of Brooklyn we're both from.
Right.
So I had a connectivity with him without even saying his name throughout my prime. So I was inspired with the towel by him.
Well, it's one of those little things the fans might not realize, but it makes it feel more like a shoot.
Absolutely. But I'm not a big fan of when young guys and girls steal gimmicks and steal. I think you need to take things and make them your own.
Influence.
Yes. Same thing with commentary. I hear lines that people say that they're hacking fucking commentators like myself or Tony or JR that have been doing this for a long time, and that pisses me off. Get a fucking thesaurus, okay, and get fucking creative.
Right.
You know what I mean? And put some fucking time in. I get a little hot when it comes to that stuff.
You don't say.
So, Human Suplex Machine. Apologize. Human Suplex Machine it just worked. I had obviously a big, vast array of throws and suplex that I worked on for a long time, perfected them for a long time. I kind of had a version of that name. Paul Heyman had a version, and we came up with Human Suplex Machine. Beat Me If You Can, Survive If I Let You was more of a Paul Heyman and I together, but more Paul. He more or less came up with that catchphrase.
Right.
And I loved it. A lot of the shit he came up with, I loved, because each guy from ECW then can tell you felt like you had a bond with him. He was really a unique, he still is, the way he deals with talent.
Yeah.
And you know Paul.
I know him very well, yeah.
And there's a lot of things about Paul people hate.
Right.
But I'm telling you, someone who worked closely with him, his passion, his heart, the type of person he is, he's a good man.
Right.
He is a good man. And each guy will tell you they had a special bond with Paul, most of them, because he turned into you when he talked to you. Strange fucking dude, but that's what made him so just talented. He knew, he had a connectivity with each character that he was pushing.
Yeah.
So he knew. And so it was everything, all those monikers, all those catchphrases, I'm so proud, and people still know them today.
Yeah,
which
they
is
sure do.
fucking great.
Yeah.
I'm blessed. I love it.
Yeah. You had great rivalries in ECW. Bam Bam Bigelow was one of them.
Yeah, I love working with Scotty. He was one of the greats.
He really was.
As a big man, how athletic he was, type of guy he was. I'm sure you knew him pretty good, Tone.
I knew him very well.
Yeah, I love Scotty. I miss him. man, we worked physical with each other.
Yeah.
There were times he didn't like me. He didn't like me much in matches, and I felt it. He fucking, we would go, man.
Yeah.
But, you know, he understood, like, Paul wanted to get me over, and there were times where he made me earn it. That was old school, like, during a match.
Sure.
You know, you want me to sell for you, you're half my size, well, you're going to have to make me fucking sell.
Right.
And some
Well, it's
nights
storytelling.
it was, but it was rough.
Right.
Yeah.
Some nights. But I loved him. I loved him. And we had a lot of fun working with each other, and I learned a lot from working with him early in my career. Yeah, he was great.
I don't think I've seen it, but there's a moment where he went through the ring.
Yeah, we both did.
Boy.
You have to see that, dude.
Yeah, I
didn't
want
see
to.
that?
I haven't seen that. No.
Oh Lord, guys.
Well, what
This
shows
is-
it from? Do you remember?
This is from Asbury Park, New Jersey, Scotty's hometown,
Right.
Bam Bam's hometown. I believe it was Living Dangerously was the pay-per-view.
Okay.
I don't remember the year. Maybe 90, I'm bad with the years, maybe 98, 99?
Yeah.
You have to.
Okay.
Just see that spot.
I'll go watch it. Yeah.
No, you have to. Like,
Okay.
not just because I was in it, like,
Yeah.
it was insane.
Yeah.
Okay.
The pop was
Yeah.
fucking crazy. I got goosebumps because because it was crazy. It was nuts, and I'll never forget. I got to tell a story.
Okay, please.
So I was beating everyone. I was a TV champion, unbeatable. 5'8", sawed off, pissed off. Paul Heyman pushed me to the moon. Just no one's beating me. Pushed like an animal. Just craziness. Now we're in his hometown. We're having this match in Bam Bam's hometown. Paul says to me about 2 weeks before, he goes, "What do you think we should do?" I go, "I got to lose here." I go, "People, I mean, you know, it's to a point where I have to lose a match. I'm getting heat with the boys."
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Yeah. Who gives a fuck about the boys? I go, well, I share cars and beers and
You care.
hotels with
You
these
care.
guys. I
You see
actually
these
do
people
care.
more than your family.
Yes, I do. At that time, I cared. You know, I go, not only that, I think for my character and for the persona, me losing would help with the audience. Goes, so let's take the belt off you. Let's do it
Right.
in Scott. And I said, cool. He goes, we can't just have him beat you. I go, why not? He goes, let me think of something. The next day, he calls me. That's when cell phones just started getting popular. Paul calls me. It had to be 2 a.m. Which my wife, she was so used to that, him calling, like, that's just Paul.
Yeah.
He would do his best work from midnight to about 5 a.m. And he just calls me. He goes, you awake? I go, no, I'm
No,
not.
but now I
that
am.
never stopped you.
Right.
What's up? He goes, you want to go through the fucking ring? I go, now? He goes, no, not now. And he laughs. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, at the pay-per-view. I go, how the fuck are you going to do it? Because we used to kind of rig things up. We but we weren't like really, I don't know how to word this the right way. We weren't like really professional. We didn't have like professional guys doing stuff.
You have guys like Chris who
No.
knows how to build a trap door in a
We
ring.
didn't,
And
correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking. Well, I'm going to go through the ring with a 400-pound man attached to my body.
Right.
And I'm going to I know I'm going to be the one taking the brunt of this because I have to lose.
Right.
Yeah.
I go, how do you want to do it? He goes, what do you think? I go, I probably got to put the choke on him. And he throws me backwards. And we go through the ring. He goes, perfect.
Oh my
I'll
God.
talk to you tomorrow. I go, wait. He hangs up. Right? So I go, wait a minute. Who's gonna do this?
Right.
Like, and you know, so that's what I was worried about. Me getting hurt. Not Bam Bam getting hurt, because I knew the logistics of the physicality. I'm gonna be on his back with the choke on him. My head's gonna be higher than him. So when we go backwards, I have to clear the hole.
Right.
Right.
That's the thing.
Sure.
And I loved the company at that time and the fans, but I did not want to die.
No, I
So-
I think
get
anyone
that.
does. No.
So at that time, Chris Candido, God rest his soul, who worked for the company, he had worked for WWE for quite some time. He knew somebody, without naming names, his name still kept kayfabe,
Okay.
who worked with WWE, part of their stunt coordination and part of their special effects team.
Right.
And he worked for us for that show. He built the gimmick on the kayfabe. Yeah.
Oh my God.
He built the trap door.
Yeah.
And there was other things which I'm still so old school. I don't want to get into what was going on under the ring.
I understand.
You know,
Yeah, I
but
get
you know,
That's the kind of stuff that's fun to
just
keep secret. though, right?
yeah. I mean, I'll tell you guys once all this shit's off. But it was. Yeah, it was insane
Yeah.
when you watch it. Yeah, it was
Good stuff, man.
the spot no one expected
Yeah,
the spot.
good stuff.
So then I go through the ring with him.
Right.
The place is chanting holy shit. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Right.
And then he comes out of the hole first. I don't want to spoil it. You're going to watch it.
Yeah.
And then they pop for him.
Right.
And he's hometown boy. And then he pulls me out and he gets the win.
Yeah.
Good
So,
stuff.
and then I got more heat with the boys because they had to break the ring to beat me. Never fails.
We're talking with Taz, and the direction we'll go next is your time with Vince and the WWE.
So we're talking to Taz. We talked a little bit about kind of your history, Paul Heyman. You mentioned before you left November-ish 1999, and then you went to WWE.
Well, I debuted in WWE January 2000.
Right. So talk about that a little bit. Your debut was with Kurt
Angle.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, at Madison Square Garden.
Yes.
Little
That'd be
building
a-
called Madison Square Garden.
Little building.
For somebody from
You might have heard of
Brooklyn,
it.
From somebody in Brooklyn, it's a big deal.
Yeah, man. It was.
Yeah.
I had just a few goals in my life, in my career. I never thought I'd end up like that time at the level of WWE, but I always wanted to hold a championship at one point. I wanted to make a
did that.
living, a living in the business. I
did
didn't care
that.
how much it was, and I did that, and then wrestle one time at Madison Square Garden.
Right. And stretch Kurt Angle. I think I was
And stretch Kurt Angle. Correct. So that's funny.
Okay.
So I never thought, I figured out 2 out of 3 is not bad. I'll never be working at the Garden, you know?
Right.
And then once we worked things out with WWE, and then Vince had told me that I was going to debut at the Garden, I was like, ooh, there's number 3.
There you go.
know, so.
There you go. Right out of the gate, man.
And I told Vince the story. And he goes, oh, that's great, pal. He really didn't give a shit.
No.
So, so anyway, yeah, that night was amazing. I mean, and I've told the story before. I'll tell it again for any new listeners
I wanna hear
here.
it.
And this is, so that night on the way to the arena, on the way to the Garden, I only live like 40 minutes away. It's a drive, obviously. So where I live on Long Island. So, man, so many things. I was in traffic, like bumper to bumper, on the Long Island Expressway, which normally obviously would piss you off being in traffic. I actually didn't mind it, because I'm not normally at that time, I was not normally like a deep thinker type guy. But then like all this shit is going through my mind, like my whole career, and like, what's this about to happen here tonight?
Kind of like culmination up to that moment type thing.
Freaked me out a little bit.
Right.
To be honest with you, it was a little weird.
Yeah.
And then
I'm trapped in this car.
Yeah.
Deep in my thoughts.
So I called Paul Heyman, and I thanked him, and I said, he knew what I was, even though it was kayfabe, but he knew that I was debuting there.
Right.
So I just thanked him. I just said, my whole career and everything we did in ECW, and I know you're pissed off at me, and I know you're angry. And he said, no, man, I love you. He goes, you're gonna kick ass, and I'm proud of you. It was like closure for me. You know what I mean? Weird. I sound very soft, but I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So
You're in New York in traffic at the time.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of
Right.
Remember that part of the story.
so I
Fucking love you, Paul.
Right, exactly. It was weird, So I get to the building, and it's like I'm excited, but I'm no selling it, and I knew Kurt, I knew Kurt pretty good, and I was friends with Kurt, His first taste of professional wrestling was actually not WWE. A lot of people don't know that. It was in ECW. See, people don't know that.
Right.
So WWE won't tell you that.
Right.
No.
That's
Oh, no.
shoot.
Right.
So
Sting disappeared for 14 years,
so
whatever.
Kurt, he did color commentary for one match right after, in 1996 after he won the gold medal in Atlanta on my match against Little Guido in ECW. Him and Joey Styles. Shane Douglas, who's from Pittsburgh, had mutual friends with Kurt, who's from Pittsburgh, and Shane was the reason who he got Kurt to the ECW show in Philly, and that was his first and last ECW show, Kurt Angle, and that was the first taste of pro wrestling for him, which I guess he liked or whatever.
Right.
And then something happened with Raven and the Sandman and a crucifix in the arena. Kurt Angle saw that. He got very offended and stormed out of the building. And
Wow.
me and Shane Douglas didn't even know that was going to happen. And we're yelling at Paul, and Kurt's yelling at me and Shane, and like, no, we didn't know. And like, we're apologizing. It was a fucking mess.
Wow.
And we
Sounds
got
like it
mad
was.
at, it was a whole big craziness.
Yeah.
But anyway, like, well, there goes a gold medalist out the fucking door because of some stupid angle.
Well, we lost that guy.
So anyway,
Another day in wrestling.
So when I wrestled Kurt at the Garden, when I came out, like when I heard that pop, I knew I was fucked. I knew I was doomed. I knew it. Because it was massive. And again, it was before the big craze of the internet and all that shit, and people didn't know I was going to be there.
It was a legit surprise.
It was a legit surprise and a legit pop in the world's most famous arena. And the reason why I knew I was doomed is because that pop did not come from WWE. I was a made guy before I got to WWE.
Right.
And WWE at that time, they never would admit it then, and they won't admit it now.
Right.
You know where I'm going.
I know exactly where you're going.
They didn't want made guys.
No,
They want to make
they wanted
guys.
to make
Wanted to
guys.
make guys.
Yep.
So that's what happened.
Right.
So as I'm walking out with the towel on my head, looking bad as a motherfucker,
Everybody's
I'm
cheering.
saying to myself, oh my God, shut up. Don't cheer. Don't pop. Just boo me. Do something. Just don't say nothing.
Right.
Even though it was an awesome feeling, I knew I was...
Yeah.
It's the beginning of the end.
So then the match happens, and we had a German suplex deal we did in there where I was going to release German suplex Kurt. I've wrestled Kurt a lot. I love Kurt. At that time, Kurt was green, and he was very overzealous. He always wanted to make his opponent look great.
Right.
Like very unselfish guy. Like that's just the type of person he is. He's a good man, you know. And I go to hit him with this German suplex, and he goes to like jump, you know, just to help me with the throw, and that's not how I suplex.
Right.
You don't jump. I do it.
Right.
I'll protect you. I'll take care of you. You just got to trust me. So I put him back down and did the throw, and he cleared his head. It was close, but he cleared his head because he was like, you know.
If he's used to jumping,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden feels
I've done
different.
that throw like a million times.
kind of the Human
Never had
Suplex
that.
Machine.
Right.
Right.
But
Did he
never
not know
right,
this?
Exactly. But it wasn't Kurt's fault. Just our timing was off.
Right.
So I did the right thing by putting him back down to protect him. I don't care if we're at the Garden or at some high school gym. I'm going to protect him.
That's the goal.
That's my job.
Right.
And that spot, I guess, helped some of the piranhas backstage.
Yeah.
You know, bury me. That's what I've heard from a few very credible sources, very credible, that they were running to Vince, and Vince saw it and was freaking out. Oh my God, he is dangerous. Oh my God, he's going to hurt somebody. And then I was just, but I had a long-term deal. I was making a lot of money. So that stuff was all positive, but I felt like that night, as great as it was, it just, Vince got the wrong idea. You know, I knew I was really fucked. Right, it was first match of the Royal Rumble, massive pay-per-view, as you guys know, at the Garden.
Right.
I walked through the Gorilla. There's nobody there. When I'm done with the match, they stretched Kurt Angle out. Everybody was gone. Like, as you guys know, that's not.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no one wanted to be near me or see me or talk to me. Wow. Nobody.
No.
Nobody. I'm like, oh boy, because you know, even though it was my first night in the company,
Sure.
I know how things work.
Right.
But
a good
anyway,
impression, didn't
and
you?
then I was there for another 9 years.
Right.
Oh my
So,
God.
go figure.
Yeah, and you moved into the announce table and there was an angle with JR and Lawler
yeah.
that got you there. Talk about that.
Yeah, it was. We did at the Garden. I think the angle started at the Garden with JR and I. That's what the angle started
Okay.
as, because I had this idea. I don't remember who I worked with. It was actually in Dallas on a pay-per-view. And I was a heel. I beat him. I might have been Al Snow. I just keep thinking it was Al Snow. And on a pay-per-view match. And as I was walking through the curtain after the match, I looked back, you know, as a heel, sinister heel. And JR had a great line. He like buried me. He's like, he got that look on his face. He like cursed, you know, son of a bitch, whatever. You know, JR was indignant on burying me.
Son of a bitch.
As a heel. You know, he did his job, JR.
Right.
And I heard it back in catering at Raw the next day. And because he used to have a monitor there where the boys would watch the pay-per-view.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, that was a good line by JR, man. And the timing was great with my face. And I went right to Vince. I go, Vince, did you hear that line? He goes, oh, it was great. I gotta fucking get back at JR. I
Right.
gotta say something. I gotta get in his face, you know, something. Let me think about it. And then, like, I think it was the week later, and then they came up with the thing where I went up to JR at the Garden and got in his face and stuff like that, and he slapped me, and then I hit him with I said a very insulting line to JR, you know, which I wasn't proud of, but as a heel, and JR knew the line was coming, I'd rather
Right.
not repeat the line, but it was a nasty, nasty line after he slapped me, and it was in the Garden. I had to get heat.
Right.
You know, I'm in my hometown, and I'm old school. I got to get heat in my hometown as a heel.
Right.
And that line worked. And I cleared the line with Vince. I cleared the line with JR. JR was a pro and said, no problem. And then I kept egging JR to hit me, and then Lawler came across and nails me.
Oh.
Yeah, with a great shot. And then we did a real legitimate pull apart. And that's the angle segued to me and Lawler. That's how it all happened. It was great. I had a lot of fun working that angle. Recently on social media, Jerry Lawler was saying too, and then he messaged me. We were going back and forth a little bit. Like that, like our feud we had as not announced. He was an announcer at the time. I wasn't. It segued me into the announce desk, but it was a really, really strong. We worked well. We had good chemistry together. It wasn't pushed though, because Lawler I think was at the announce desk. They weren't pushing me as a main eventer, so it was just kind of like a good filler angle. But it could have been much more. But I had a lot of fun working with King and doing the stuff with JR too.
Do you think when Vince acquired ECW that buried it on purpose?
You mean the rebirth of ECW?
The rebirth of ECW.
like
I mean, because
2008,
because it wasn't what it was.
It was horrible.
Exactly.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
And
Do you
Why
think
is
he
it
tried
just
to
not
make
the
it work,
vibe?
or
Just
he did a rebirth just to put his foot on it?
No, I really, and I ended up leaving the SmackDown desk to do color commentary on the rebirth of ECW. See, ECW guys call it the rebirth. We don't
Right.
call it ECW.
Gotcha.
And
All right.
Joey Styles and I, you know,
right.
it was fucking horrible.
Right.
And I don't think Vince did that on purpose.
Okay.
I really don't. I have no agenda to
I
put
understand.
Vince over. I'm
Right.
just being honest.
Right.
I really believe that was Vince's vision for what it should be and would be.
And it's not what ECW was.
No, but he didn't give a fuck. He
Right.
wanted it to be what he wanted it to be.
Right.
He's a business guy.
He's a billionaire.
Yeah.
So that's what
There's a reason
happens
why.
with some of those billionaires.
Right.
Not the billionaire we have here.
The billionaire we have is
We
pretty
love
dope.
him.
We
so,
love him. We
no, but
love
here's
him
the thing, though. But here's the thing. Like, I knew that thing was fucked. Where we did the rebirth of ECW. We were in Newark, New Jersey doing a TV. And the announce desk was not going to be the regular announce desk. It was going to be just a folding table with cans right there with the box, wires, and all exposed. That's the first one or two we did. And then we were in, I think it was Newark or Trenton, New Jersey. I can't remember what town. And I remember Kevin Dunn saying to me and Joe Styles, yeah, we're going to change the table up. It looks like shit. And me and Joe were like, well, no, that's kind of the look. Like that, it should look.
That's our vibe now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, nah. It
should look low budget.
It's WWE's version of ECW. It's not going to look like that. And like, me and Joe were like, wow, this thing's doomed.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
This is the one step. It's like, what's next, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You left WWE on your own terms in 2009,
Which was great.
Yeah.
I was so proud to be able to do that.
Right.
Because at that time, people were getting future endeavored, like, so if they would release someone, they would get future endeavored. They would, we wish Joe Blow the best of his future endeavors, which is like a real
It's
shithead
like, where
thing.
else are you going to work,
Yeah,
buddy?
exactly. It's like a real, it's not bad enough we just release you, but we're going to fucking zing you on the way out the door.
Right.
Like, how much of a heel fucking deal is that?
That's right.
So, anyway, what happened was, man, I just had enough. I had enough. I was working SmackDown. I was technically working once a week.
Yeah.
I was flying on Vince's plane, Michael Cole and I,
Yeah.
back to New York every Tuesday night after TV, not because they liked us, because we had to go and do VOs.
Do VOs, right.
So we had to get back to Connecticut, so commercially it would have been a bitch. So we used to fly all to, my point is, they, Wine and Diamond, they treated me great. I mean,
Right.
financially and everything. I had a new deal in front of me, a new 3-year deal. They wanted to keep me. And then I remember telling Kevin Dunn, I said, I think I got to pump the brakes here. I just need to think. I don't think I want to stay. He was, what? He was shocked.
Sure.
He was
sure.
shocked
Yeah.
because it came out of nowhere to them. But in my mind, I had enough. I was tired of the vibe there. And so
Is that another way for saying politics?
not just the politics. No, it wasn't
It's the way
pol-
you feel going to work every day.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would sit in the rent-a-car and show prep. I didn't want to be in the building. I didn't want to be around
Pretty clear sign.
any of them. Yeah.
Right.
And there are one or two other guys that would do the same thing. I don't want to name their names because one of them still works there, so I don't
Right.
want to bury him,
Right.
But, I just didn't want to go. This went on for, no lie, at least 3 months. I
Right.
just didn't want to go. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to hear Vince in my ear. Fuck, I know it's a leapfrog, dude. I mean, I know it's a drop kick. You don't have to tell me, fuck, it's a bulldog. Yeah, no shit.
Right.
How many bulldogs have you taken? How many have I taken? Shut up. Okay?
Yeah.
So, really,
Yeah.
that kind of shit. Like, the micromanaging got to a point where he was, not just in my ear, but, the play-by-play guys were getting it a lot worse than the color commentators.
They were getting hammered,
Right.
and still do.
And still do.
Right.
Correct. So that was a big part of it. Just being around at that time, and I'm going to say it, and they gave me an opportunity to leave the ring and being a commentator. And I've on my podcast when it was going full time, I've thanked them publicly. I emailed Vince privately when I got my gig with CBS Radio. I emailed him and I thanked him. Without you turning me into a broadcast, I never would have had this. But I'm going to tell you right now, I just never said it anywhere else. And I'll say it right here as Tony throws up on the air. But I'll tell you this. I didn't want to be around anybody named McMahon at that time.
Yeah. Right.
They were fucking annoying. And it was just the pompous, the arrogance. I think things have changed since then a little bit. But at that time, I think a little bit it has. I'm not there. I don't know. Right. Thank God. I'm here. But the arrogance, not politics, the arrogance, and that's the word I keep saying. That's the adjective that keeps jumping out to me. The disposition of that elitist attitude. It got to the point where it's like, you know what? Fuck off.
Right.
I'm out.
Yeah.
And then I even said to Kevin, I said, look, he said, take a week, chill out, think about it, talk to your wife, blah, blah, blah. You know, I knew that I had an opportunity to go TNA at that time. I knew. I'm not dumb. Right. I was just like, I'm just tired of working here, and I'm just going to wait and see if someone else calls me. Right. I knew I had
someone else already called.
Yeah. So I said to Kevin, I said, listen, I'm not signing this, Kevin. I'm sorry. I said, you've been very helpful to my career. I appreciate you. I need a break. He goes, okay, all right, I understand. He goes, you're going to have to talk to Vince. And, he goes, he's going to want to talk to you personally. I go, no, I want to talk to Vince. Of course. Do you want me to come to TV this week? He goes, yeah, we were in Dallas, Dallas. So I'm like, all right. So I did say to him, because WrestleMania was the next week.
Oh, boy.
I said, I don't want to leave you in a lurch. I said, I'm not going to sign a deal. My deal was up.
Right.
I said, I will
so you're
come.
basically doing like show to show at this point.
For 1 week, I went show to show. I said, I'll go to Mania. Don't pay me. Just take care of my trans. I told Kevin, I'll come in. I don't want to leave you in a lurch. He goes, Taz, I appreciate that. Let me talk to Vince. We might want to go a different direction, being that you're leaving. That's no problem. And they did. They went a different direction. Sure. But I know I rest my head on my pillow at night knowing that I did the right thing on the way out. I gave notice the right way. I gave ample time, and I offered to go call their biggest show for free, so just take care of my transportation and we're good. But they didn't do that. And then, saying goodbye to Vince was tough because, he's done a lot for me. And, and I didn't tell him I'm fucking tired of hearing you in my ear.
Right.
I didn't say that. I just said, I just need a little break. And he goes, you sure? He goes, you're part of the family here and all that. I'm like,
oh, yeah.
I want to say, I don't really feel like part of the family.
Right.
But
part of the family I don't like.
But you can say I'm part of the family.
Family only see on Thanksgiving. They bring the casserole nobody wants to eat.
Oh, so, but whatever. I just said, no, I'm good. I got to go.
Yeah. Well,
here
you are, and we're all better for it. Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
I appreciate that.
I
don't think that. I appreciate you saying that. I don't. It's great for me. It's great for my mind. Being in podcasting so long and in radio so long, I quasi left the business for about 4 or 5 years, and now being back in the industry to this level with AEW and the way this ball rolls is fucking great. I mean, I'm blessed. So you guys make me better, so I'm
we're all making each other better.
That's the beauty part of this place. It sounds crazy, but it's the
so
truth.
cliche, but we're literally just every day.
It's great.
I know. I'm getting on planes every Tuesday. I'm just like, man, this is my job.
Taz, one of the true great performers of all time. Thanks for your time, buddy.
Did you read that line?
Yeah.
You think he said it?
I sure did.
Thanks, Tony.
All right, buddy.
Lovely, thank you.
Okay, be sure to subscribe to AEW.
Subscribe. The word subscribe, right.
Be sure to get AEW Unrestricted
He's a broadcaster.
Podcast.
Did you know that?
Yes, I know he is. For free. You can get it for free wherever you get your podcasts. And tune in to AEW Dynamite Wednesdays, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock Central on TNT. And I'm Tony Schiavone.
I'm Audrey Edwards.
And I'm Taz.
You sure are. Thanks for listening to Unrestricted.